Hey everyone, it's Triple Mango Threat, and today we're going over the winner of the third poll taken on the channel, and it's Mogis, God of Slaughter. Let's jump right into it. Now, our commander says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Mogis is going to deal 2 damage to that player unless they sacrifice a creature. So let's keep promoting what our commander wants us to do, and that is to be annoying. Burning Earth, whenever a player taps a non-basic land for mana, Burning Earth is going to deal them 1 damage. Dingus Staff, whenever a creature dies, it deals 2 damage to that creature's controller, which can be a silly thing for us to do because if our opponents choose to sack a creature at their upkeep, we are still dealing them 2 damage. Impatience, this is an interesting one. At the beginning of each player's turn, if that player didn't play a spell, Impatience is going to deal 2 damage to them, and this is really going to affect our control players, well, at least those who don't cast spells on their turns. Mana Barbs, whenever a player taps a land for mana, Mana Barbs deals 1 damage to that player, and this can get annoying really quick. Not just for our opponents, but for us as well. So we can help save ourselves a little bit with a card like Urza's Armor. Now it does cost 6 mana, but it says if a source would deal damage to you, prevent 1 of that damage. That is super good in this deck with all the ways that we're making each player suffer. Revenge of Ravens. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, that creature's controller loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is nice because it can potentially make our opponents hit each other, and if they do decide to hit us, we're going to gain life off of this, which can help balance out any life that we're losing. Killing Wave. For X and a black, it says for each creature, its controller sacrifices it unless he or she pays X life. This is super good in this deck. Rarely our opponents are going to pay 4 life for a creature they control. I'm sure if it's an important creature to them, they're going to pay that life, but for the other creatures, it's likely they're going to let them die. And this could trigger Sir Conrad the Grim. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. You can see how this deck really abuses creatures dying. Now, losing life isn't too bad for us, especially when we get to draw cards. Villa's Broker of Blood. It's an 8/8 demon with flying that lets us pay a black mana and 2 life to give target creature -1/-1 until end of turn. Most importantly, whenever you lose life, you draw that many cards. This is what I'm talking about. We're losing life anyway, so we might as well be drawing cards. Speaking of card draw, Ambition's Cost and Ancient Craving. They're the same card and do the same thing for us, which is to draw 3 and lose 3 for 4 mana. Not a bad way to get cards to fill up our hand, especially in Rakdos. Outpost Siege. This gets us to exile the top card of our library until end of turn, and we can play that card. We're not drawing a card technically, but we are able to play another card, whether it's a land or a spell, and it's a great budget option when you're in Rakdos. Read the Bones. We scry 2, draw 2, lose 2. Another great option when we want to be drawing cards. We can potentially go through 4 cards if we put the top 2 cards we scried on the bottom of our library and then draw 2. Definitely an underrated card. Siphon Mind. Each player discards a card, you draw a card for each card discarded this way. So definitely play this with 3 opponents because that's 3 cards for 4 mana, which is typical. Anything less than 3 cards is not a good ratio for the mana we'll be paying, but our opponents still lose a card in addition to it, so I think even if we have 2 opponents and we draw 2, it can still be okay. I just prefer to benefit the most from this card. Angrath's Marauders. If a source would deal damage to a permanent of a player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player. Yikes. Especially with our commander, this can end up being 4 damage if our opponents don't sack a creature. Dictate of the Twin Gods. This says the same thing as Angrath's Marauder, and it has a cheaper mana cost, it's an enchantment, and it has flash. Torbrand Thrain of Red Fell. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent, or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much +2, so another great way to really mess up our opponents. Chain Reaction. It deals X damage to each creature where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. I love this board wipe, especially for 35 cents. It's a great budget card when in red. Starstorm. It's going to deal X damage to each creature, and we get the option to cycle it. Storm's Wrath. It deals 4 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Now 4 damage may not kill every creature, but with our double damage dealers, we can get a lot done. So 4 damage becomes 8, which will kill a lot of creatures in our games. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like to purchase any of these cards, you can use the TCG link down below to help support the channel, and it doesn't cost anything extra to do so. Thank you to the patrons who directly help support the channel. And for $10 a month, you can also become a patron to see your name at the end of these videos and get an exclusive Ultra Sleeve each month. Be sure to comment down below what you think of the deck and subscribe for more Mango content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.